We have just a few people. I would really like to wish everybody um, a happy Gandhi Jayanti. It's a very special day for us, um, for the whole nation, because not only the ideals that Gandhiji preached and followed, but as a country, if we were able to do just the little things for us, for our homes, for our communities, our country would be a different place to live in. And there is not much that needs to be done to do these little things. So, home composting is one of those small things that we can all initiate, whether we are living in a small apartment, whether we are living in a large bungalow, whether we are living in community housing. So, it's not something difficult. Once you get the hang of it and get used to it, it's very easy to do. The whole intention was that we have always been, we've been crying about how our waste is going to the landfill, how our waste is contaminating the rest of the city, how our landfills are contaminating the villages that are around them. There are other people who are bearing the brunt of our unsegregated waste. We send it out, our mess is behind somebody else's backyard. It becomes their problem the moment it is out of our homes. So the little thing that we can do, it's a very, very small thing that we can do, is we can start with our own homes. And people have always asked me that, we don't have time, we can't step out and do, big things and get involved in large activities. But I say the simplest thing to do is to do something within the confines of your home. And it's not challenging. It doesn't take a lot of effort. It doesn't take a lot of resources. I'm going to try and make it as simple as possible. In the meanwhile, you can see my composters on either side of me. This is a twin drum composter. This is a single drum composter, and that's my Khanna. So the beautiful part about making compost is that it gives you a beautiful garden and something which you can just never stop spending time in. Oh, I'm sorry, some of us don't have gardens, but we have a balcony maybe. So we can have a few pots inside the balcony. We can just grow some sort of herbs or something to eat. Tomato is not difficult to grow. Basil is not difficult to grow. Ginger is not difficult to grow. So if you have your own home compost, there is so much you can grow. Not only maybe some flowers, and you'll have butterflies in your balcony. Even if you're on the 16th floor. I have a friend, another Priyanka, who also composts and has these little pots with flowers, and she grows food, and she has butterflies and all sorts of beautiful creatures on the 16th floor of a high-rise building. So, so the benefits of making compost are enormous and amazing. So let's break it down into simply what do we need? Why do we need to compost? So it's very gratifying. It makes you a happy person, because the moment you see that, like, this is today's waste for me from my kitchen. I'm going to bring it closer to the camera. This is today's waste. It has eggshells, it has the vegetable peels, it has fruit peels, and it has some leftover food which has been drained. उसको छन्नी से निकाल दिया गया, the liquid. अगर आप पूरा गीला इसमें डालेंगे तो it's quite likely that your compost pile is going to smell and stink, because this is very, very nitrogen rich, and it already has a lot of moisture. So what do we need for composting? We need moisture, we need oxygen, we need this kitchen waste, and we need brown stuff. So kitchen waste is number one. Kitchen waste हर किसी के घर में होती है. It's in everybody's homes. So if you just keep your kitchen waste in one little box, which you can empty out into your composter maybe once or twice a day. So each time you come to empty it out, you can keep a little box on its side. I have a little box there, which has all my dry leaves here. So these are the dry leaves which I collect and keep in my garden. I keep a sack full, and sometimes I just get the kids to jump on it. So when they jump on it, the leaves settle down very nicely. and they don't take so much space. So you have lots of dry leaves already, and we are going to have the season of leaf fall. So you'll have a lot of dry leaves all around you. You can just keep them in sacks and save them in your balcony or in your garden. So we have kitchen waste, one, which is green stuff because it has moisture in it. This is carbon, brown stuff. Instead of leaves, you can also use, if you already have some compost. Here, this is also brown. Remember green, brown. So this is the brown stuff. I'm using this. This can also be used very comfortably. आप compost भी use कर सकते हैं. And the next thing that you can use is coco peat. So coco peat is a fiber from the coconuts, and it's extremely fibrous. It's got carbon in it. So this makes a beautiful composition also with your green waste, which is the kitchen waste. So any of the brown things, one, two, and the coco peat. I can't lift all three together, so I have spoken about the brown stuff and the green stuff, which is the kitchen waste. Then the third thing we really need to do composting is the accelerator. कुछ ऐसी चीज जो उसको बनने में जल्दी मदद करे, क्योंकि आपके घर में you don't want कि there should be smell and there should be little flies and there should be little insects flying all over your house. So what you want is you want to hasten the composting process. And for that we have you can either use a little bit of buttermilk, diluted buttermilk, 2-3 teaspoons or tablespoons just sprinkled lightly over your pile every alternate day till the pile is full. Then you let it be. Then you don't need to add more of it. Sometimes you can get an accelerator because with my composter, this one and this one, I was given accelerator. Accelerator is also like it's a powder. Here, you can see it. It's a powder. And this powder can also be used to hasten the microbial activity. What does this powder do? It helps to generate the good microbes, which will quickly start munching and breaking down your the green matter and the brown matter together. So this is quite important. It's quite likely that your composting will happen very slowly if you're not using an accelerator. However, I must say that if you're using old compost, it is also microbe rich. So you've already added some, microbes in your previous composting pile, and those microbes are still there in the compost. And if you're using this as your brown matter, then your compost pile will have the microbes. So you don't need to worry about the microbes when you're using the compost. Also, जब आप compost use करते हैं, you have to make sure that it's a little moist. Very dry compost is not a good sign. उसका मतलब ये भी है कि उसमें जो microbes हैं वो या तो मर गए हैं या फिर they are very weak because the microbes need the moisture to survive. तो आपको माइक्रोब्स तो चाहिए चाहिए, थोड़ा उसमें मॉइस्चर भी चाहिए. मॉइस्चर का मतलब ये नहीं है गीला होना चाहिए कि आप उसको पकड़ के निचोड़ सकें. अगर आप उसको निचोड़ रहे हैं तो गलत है, तो उसमें बहुत ज्यादा पानी है. Then too much water will add to your problem of to smell. In too many insects, maybe little a lot of stickiness in your compost. And if it is sticking together, then you are very, very sure that ये compost pile गीली है, इसको थोड़ा सूखा करना. It is too wet. Then you need to dry it up a little. And to dry it up, you can use any of the three brown things and leave your pile open for some time so it dries up. Once it gets the air and once maybe the sun reaches it, it's not going to be so wet anymore. But you do need to mix this. And once you're mixing it, because you're putting it in every day. Ab ye dekhiye, for example, this is my twin drum composter. This is 60 liters, 60 liters. So that's two drums of 60 liters. Later, I can share the details. He's also on our group NCR Waste Matters. I can share the details of Mr. Rathi, who makes these drums. They are beautifully designed. अब आपको composting के लिए oxygen भी चाहिए. You need oxygen. And where does this composter get its oxygen from? So it has these little holes on the side. I don't think you can see it with this camera, but on the side here, there are these little holes which allow the oxygen to go in and for the air circulation to happen. हवा का आना जाना बहुत जरूरी है. तो उसमें इसमें जब आप रोज का अपना खाना डालेंगे, कुछ ब्राउन डालेंगे या तो सूखे पत्ते या कोकोपीट, या फिर आप पुरानी खाद डालेंगे और उसमें थोड़ा सा एक्सेलरेटर उसके ऊपर स्प्रिंकल करेंगे, तो उसको आप एक बार घुमा देंगे. दिस कैन बी रोटेटेड. श्रुति, कैन यू हेल्प मी रोटेट दिस? जस्ट कम हियर प्लीज. यस, जस्ट पुश इट वंस. जोर के करना पड़ेगा. So this can be rotated. Actually, it just goes down. If I stand, it'll be easier. Because I'm sitting, it's not so easy for me. So if I stand, I also go out of the camera. So I've been told not to move from here. So I'm sorry about that. Lekin, so what? Let me move. Okay. So can you see? Yeah. So this allows for the compacting doesn't happen. वो चिपकता नहीं है. और क्योंकि अगर आप एक बार उसके ऊपर उसको छोड़ देंगे, हो सकता है वो उसका जब पानी निकलेगा तो वो एक दूसरे से चिपकना शुरू हो जाएगा, बदबू आएगी, मक्खी आएगी, मच्छर आएंगे और आपके घर वाले सब परेशान होंगे. They'll all say no, we do not want to compost at home. So you have to just watch out for these things, that it should not smell, that it should not stink, and there should not be too many flies. Now see, this particular product is completely covered, so you're not worried about flies coming in any case. There are other things which may worry you with flies and insects. Uh, I think we may make a series out of this and do and cover many home composting solutions. So this is just a start. So I'm just talking about one, two, and then Priyanka shortly will talk about the khamba, which is lying here. It's made of terracotta. So Priyanka will speak about this. I'm going to speak about these two drums, and I'm going to also show you the leaf composter. So as quickly as I got distracted, I'm going to come back to the main issue of what are we putting in. So we've spoken about the three things that we are putting in. Charge. This is the accelerator. Now this is something beautiful. I have spoken about it many times and written about it many times. You all can recognize it. It's the waste decomposer. So waste decomposer is available in Amazon. You can buy it from there. It's a small, it comes in a pack of 6 bottles and it's very cheap. So if you order this, you get 6 bottles like this. One big bottle allows you to make almost 200 liters. So you can make a big drum of 200 liters, but you don't want 200 liters for your home, right? So maybe you can just make 50 liters, or just take a small fraction, divide it into 8 fractions, and just take a small fraction and use that for your home composting. Now, what does it do? Once the instructions are very clear. It takes only about 5 days to be prepared. And once it's ready, you can dilute it 10 times and also spray it in your compost pile. That way also it helps it accelerates the breakdown process. So what are we looking at? We are looking at the waste decomposer. This is also great to keep pesticides and insecticides away from your plants, because it naturally enhances the immunity of your plants. So you can generally spray it on your flowering plants and fruiting plants, and you'll be surprised at how much flowering and fruiting happens. And I am also I don't have a research on it, and there is nothing to validate my suspicion, but I think it attracts a lot of lovely butterflies and all the little creatures which we like to see in our garden. So go for it if you can and make it. So now we have this. Once you have put everything inside, it is important to move the pile. And this rotatory, the rotation of this drum allows you to move the pile and allow the oxygen to come in. ऑक्सीजन आएगी तो बदबू नहीं आएगी. तो उसमें आप ये इस वाले ड्रम में, और ये जो ड्रम है, दिस इज almost a 280 or 300 liter drum, this one. So it's a single drum. The same thing applies, Every day you put in your material inside this, your browns, greens, and your accelerator, and then you just rotate this. You rotate this. and you, once it's full 80%, you let it be, both of them. You must allow room for oxygen to circulate inside. अगर आप बिल्कुल ऊपर तक भरेंगे, जैसे हमारी माँ और नानी दादी हमेशा कहती थी कि बिल्कुल पेट भर के नहीं खाना चाहिए, आप थोड़ी सी जगह पेट में रहने दीजिए, for a simple reason that if you are allowing some space in your stomach, you're also allowing for the whole aerobic composting process to happen very easily. If you're too full up, the circulation of air does not happen and it makes it difficult for the composting to happen. So please do remember not to fill your composter full up. Now, having been through these two solutions with you, I am also going to quickly, the process remains the same for this, or anything else. Greens, browns, accelerator. Initially, आप उसको हिलाएंगे. You can use a rake. You can use, आपके गार्डन में कोई डंडी है, किसी पेड़ की डंडी है, आप उसको यूज कर सकते हैं उसको हिलाने के लिए, ताकि वो कॉम्पैक्ट ना करे. और थर्ड थिंग, उसमें जो ऑक्सीजन जो आपको चाहिए वो तो होनी ही चाहिए, एंड द ऑक्सीजन, एंड ऑफ कोर्स वंस इट इज फुल अप, आप उसको छोड़ दीजिए. You let it be for a month or so. Beach में every 5 to 6 days you can just move it around a little bit, क्योंकि उसमें अब गर्मी बननी शुरू हो जाती है. It starts, it goes to the next stage of breakdown when it starts producing heat. And when it produces heat, you want that heat to be completely shared in the whole pile. It should not be concentrated only in the center, क्योंकि जो center है वो सबसे ज़्यादा protected है, सबसे ज़्यादा गर्मी वहीं होगी. लेकिन आप चाहते हैं कि पूरी pile थोड़ी थोड़ी गर्म हो करके जो breakdown है, 45 to 50 degrees जो temperature उसमें बनता है वो बनना चाहिए, और वो पूरे पाइल में होना चाहिए. नहीं तो आपके जो साइड साइड में कुछ चीजें पड़ी हैं, केले के छिलके हैं या जो भी आपका ऑर्गेनिक मैटर है, वो अनकुक्ड ही रह जाएगा, मतलब कि उसका ब्रेकडाउन नहीं होगा, और जब आप खाद निकालेंगे तो उसमें वो कच्चा रह जाएगा. सो we move it around a little bit, and only after once a week or 5 days, once it's full. And then once you start seeing that it's smelling, compost smells like सौंधी मिट्टी, जब बरसात होती है, बहुत सुंदर भीगी भीगी एक खुशबू आती है मिट्टी की, जो हम सबको पसंद है. जब आपकी खाद तैयार होनी शुरू हो जाती है तो उसमें ये सौंधी मिट्टी की खुशबू आती है, और जब आपको लगे कि उसमें वो खुशबू आनी शुरू हो गई है, तब आप उसको वैसे भी बिल्कुल हाथ ना लगाएं, फिर उसको थोड़ा सा अपने आप ही सूखने दें, थोड़ा सा उसके अंदर. और अगर आपको लग रहा है ज्यादा गीली है तो आप कहीं पे भी उसको बिछा करके प्लास्टिक के ऊपर कवर करके रखिएगा. धूप में नहीं रखना है, छांव में रखना है, because if you put it out in the sun, you're going to lose your microbes, you're going to lose the moisture, and you don't want to do that. So please keep it in the shade. Ideally let it be in the container it is. अगर आपको वो कंटेनर खाली करना है तो किसी ऐसे कंटेनर में डालिए जिसमें थोड़ा सा पोरस हो, जैसे आप किसी बोरी में डाल सकते हैं या आप किसी बड़े गमले में डाल सकते हैं. उसको डाल के हल्का सा ढक के छोड़ दीजिए. आप देखेंगे ओवर टाइम इट विल गेट दैट क्रम्बली ऐसा टेक्सचर जो है बिल्कुल उसका ब्रेक डाउन हो गया होता है. जो खाने का मटेरियल है, पत्ते हैं, सब कुछ उसका ब्रेक डाउन हो जाता है, एंड इट बिकम्स परफेक्ट मटेरियल. दिस इज Aditi, it's a large composter, little large for big houses, और let's say जैसे फार्म हाउसेज में अगर बहुत सारे लोग रहते हैं या बड़ा घर है, तो इसके बारे में आई विल टॉक इन अनदर अनदर सेशन, क्योंकि ये हमने अपनी कम्युनिटी में भी लगाया था हमें मदद करने के लिए. इसमें काफ़ी क्वांटिटी आ जाती है, बहुत सुंदर तरीके से बना है, इसमें जाली है अंदर ताकि चूहे भी ना जा सकें और किसी तरह का rodents आपके खाने को अटैक ना करें. So this is also a beautiful product, but maybe in the next session, I promised you guys not to take too much of your time. So I am going to say goodbye and thank you. And thank you for even thinking about composting. And I hope you can start composting, because I love it. And I think everybody who starts love it. It is so addictive. इसमें there's just something so beautiful about composting, and I don't know how people can not do it. So I would love to hear from you whether you have been able to start on your journey of composting. Please write into us, share your doubts. We are there to handhold you. There are so many of us in this group, NCR Waste Matters. Always happy to help you. And I would like to continue sharing new products with you. So that I think now we need to get into action mode. बातें ही नहीं, कुछ करते भी हैं. हाँ, सच में अपने घरों में थोड़ा थोड़ा कुछ कुछ शुरू करते हैं. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye, and I want to invite Priyanka to come in. I hope she's able to join in right now. मैं तब तक आपको थोड़ा सा ये खोल के दिखाती हूँ. आपको ये ऐसे खुलता है, एंड ये देखिए इसमें खाद ऑलमोस्ट चेक करो. This is the compost coming out of this. So it's ये तकरीबन तैयार हो चुकी है. इट्स वेरी इजी टू ऑपरेट. अगर जैसे आपके घर में कुछ बुजुर्ग लोग भी हैं तो उनके लिए भी ऑपरेट करना बहुत आसान है. अगर आपके घर में कोई हेल्प करने के लिए नहीं है, आप केवल खुद उसको मैनेज करेंगे तो उठाना नहीं है भारी चीज को. ये एक ही जगह एक कोने में पड़ी रह सकती है. और एक और बहुत जरूरी चीज है कि आपको अपने कंपोस्टर में पानी नहीं ऊपर से जाने देना है. बारिश के पानी से बचाना है. तो उसके लिए एक सिंपल सा रेनकोट बना सकते हैं किसी भी प्लास्टिक से. बड़े प्लास्टिक के बैग को काट करके आप उसका एक छोटा सा रेनकोट बना दीजिए. कहीं साइड से उसको टाई अप कर दीजिए ताकि उसके अंदर आपके कंपोस्टर में पानी ना जाए. पानी जाने से वही प्रॉब्लम होगी जो अक्सर खाद में होती है कि वो स्मेल आनी शुरू हो जाती है, उसमें कीड़े बनने शुरू हो जाते हैं, घर वाले परेशान होते हैं, फिर सब कहते हैं छोड़ो इसे, हमें नहीं करना है.
So the one thing that we can add for today's session is this beautiful home composter that I have here. It's what we call the Khamba. It's a terracotta unit. It's made by Lady Tam, and it's easily available with a lot of people within Delhi and Gurgaon can easily got. So basically, it's made of terracotta, and it's got these three containers. So we begin with just a short recap of what Monika has already told you about the kitchen waste that you need to collect every day in your kitchen. And in my kitchen, we just have this small dolki. We find it very convenient. It's got a handle. So every day when the kitchen waste is accumulated, we just keep putting it into this dolki, and then we just carry this little thing out with us to put everything into the home composting unit. So the only thing that you need to remember is, like Monika also mentioned, not to add very wet stuff. Yeah. So avoid adding cooked food actually in the beginning. I usually tell beginners not to add cooked food at all for the first few weeks until you understand the moisture levels. And not to add very big pieces of waste. So for example, if you have a watermelon peel which is kind of big, just chop it up into smaller pieces and then put it into the composter. It will just quicken the process. So basically, all the kitchen waste from our kitchen goes into this little dolki, and then you come out, and that's our khamba. We open the cover every day, and yesterday's kitchen waste is already in. थोड़ा सा आगे आके दिखा दो. इधर ये दिख रहा है. So that's yesterday's kitchen waste, which is already covered with the dry material. I'm just going to add. This is not representative of what we have every day. It was just a little bacha kucha which was left. Today's has also already been put into the khamba. So you add your fresh kitchen waste, and then there is this coco peat that we add every day. This is our dry matter. We just cover it with dry matter. And then I usually keep this newspaper. I
Yes, it's a
usually
good
keep this
idea.
newspaper on top after putting everyday's waste so that the flies can't get to it. So it will just reduce the number. It won't attract insects this way. And of course, you never forget to put the cover back on.
Or you can also put
So
a
for
green
dry
mesh
matter,
jali.
you can use crushed dry leaves, or you can simply use coco peat, or you can use some of your khad from a previous composting cycle. So this is ready-made khad, which you can use instead of the coco peat or the dry leaves. And it's also, like Monika also mentioned, it's a great accelerator because it has microbes in it. So if you're not using this, then you need to add a little bit of an accelerator, which can be either khatta dahi or microbes powder or a little bit of bioenzyme if you have some handy. So the one question that a lot of people ask me when we talk about home composting is how much space will it take? So basically you can see here that it's just a small amount of space in one corner that it has taken because it is, just stacked one on top of the other. So it doesn't take much space. The next question is usually about the smell. Does it smell? So the only if it gets too wet. So which is why it's very important to add basically you use a rake and you shake up the contents, rake up the contents of your composting pot at least once in 3 days so that there is good air circulation and it doesn't compact. Because once it starts losing air circulation, it becomes compact, and then that is the reason why it might start getting too wet and it might start to smell. So to avoid that, remember to add enough dry matter and rake it once in 2 or 3 days, and add an accelerator. That will also help to hasten the process of composting. Now you can see that there are 3 pots here, one on top of the other. So once this is full with my layers of wet and dry, this goes into the middle, and the middle one, which is empty, comes to this position, right? So there is a little bit of lifting involved, and if you have a bad back like mine, you will need some help because it is a little heavy. Now the option is that you can purchase one of these in a plastic version also, which is much lighter. And if you don't have help, you don't have a gardener, you can just easily, switch the 3 boxes because it's made of plastic and it is not too heavy to lift and move. Right? So coming back to this, once this is full, we put this in the middle, bring the middle one up here. Once that is also full, then the previous one we empty it into the third, and then we bring this up here. And you see that the waste just keeps reducing in volume as it continues to come. So you will have enough space so that last one or maybe 2 cycles. So you keep rotating, right? And in our house, because we cook a lot of fresh food, we do have a lot of waste in our kitchen. So we are a family of 6. We needed one more pot, and which is this. This is called a Devet pot. So when all 3 are full, the last one I empty it out into this pot. So this is my almost ready compost, which has come from that third pot into this pot, right? And it's almost ready to use also. So that is what your unsieved compost will look like. Beautiful black gold, and it smells beautiful too, uh, like fresh soil. So you know that it's done when it starts smelling like mitti, like soil. And of course, we use this in all the little pots and little kyaris and plants that we have, and we try to grow some vegetables also. And whenever there's excess, you can always share it with your neighbors. You can leave it in your park. There are lots of parks around in most colonies, and it can be shared. So there's also this question that people ask me that what will we do with so much compost? हमारे घर में तो पौधे ही नहीं है. So so the whole idea is basically that you are not sending that much kitchen waste to the landfill. You are reducing the waste that is going to the landfill by composting at home. Even if you don't have plants, this compost is so beautiful. You can share it with others who have plants. You can put it in your parks, anywhere. You're still doing your bit, right? And you'll automatically see how little waste actually goes out of your house once you've started composting all your kitchen. So if you've segregated your dry waste, your electronic waste, the e-waste can go to an e-waste recycler. Your dry waste can be given to your regular dry waste recycler. जैसे कबाड़ी होते ही हैं सारी colonies में usually आते हैं. You can give it to them. They can sell it off for recycling. And very little reject waste is the only waste that you will be sending out to the landfill. So that's a little bit about the Khamba, and thank you all for staying with us. Monica, if you'd like to continue, if you're still there. Actually,
Yes.
even I don't know if I'm there or I'm talking to the air because I've never done this
Oh,
Facebook
yes.
Live before.
You're
So
there.
thank
Can
you
you
for
hear me?
being with us. And Monica, would you like to add something?
Yes. Thank you so much. Can you hear me now, Priyanka? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay, so then
I
I
can
guess
hear you.
everybody can hear. So thank you so much for coming today. It's a family holiday. I know there are 6 of us you've joined. So usually प्रियंका और मेरे लिए अगर एक भी जन होता है तो हम लोग शुरू हो जाते हैं और एक बार हम लोग शुरू हो जाते हैं तो थोड़ा हमें चुप करना मुश्किल होता है लेकिन आज क्योंकि हमने आपको प्रॉमिस किया था दैट वी विल नॉट टेक मोर देन 35 minutes of your time and maybe we have exceeded that time limit. We are going to stop right now and maybe touch on more composting solutions in the months to come. Slowly, we will show you smaller things which you can do in apartments, simple things which are really, really inexpensive, which you don't need to spend a lot of money on. And we hope that it helps you in your journey on starting composting and doing something so beautiful that it will give you joy and you will want to share your joy with other people. So, signing off, Stuti, come, let's say bye. This is thank you, Priyanka, for
And my
spending your time.
assistant too.
Yes, your
My
assistant.
assistant at home and for all things good. She's my support system. She does most of my composting work
Thank
also now.
you.
She's learned.
And this is Stuti, and I'm very grateful, to her for stepping out today and helping me with this. Thank you all. See you again. फिर मिलते हैं composting के ऊपर soon.
Please post your
Thank you.
questions. We can still answer them later.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.